After a highly unusual zombie saves a still-living girl from an attack, the two form a relationship that sets in motion events that might transform the entire lifeless world.
I guess that's this movie.
So that's not true. It's not true. He's not a highly unusual zombie.
No, not at all.
He's just a regular zombie.
Normal zombie.
This is what all this... okay.
Yeah.
We got...
Yeah.
Hey, it's the Watchin It podcast Halloween special.
Yes.
It's Valentine's Day in October.
Yes.
We're talking about the 2013 classic Warm Bodies.
If you think this is a classic,
It's got a 6.8 rating on IMDb, Donnell. This is a fine movie.
It's a travesty. It's a disaster. Yes, folks, Robert has finally gotten his wish. We are covering Warm Bodies. This was my second time watching it, and it was not enjoyable. I'm not sure if it's the worst thing. No, it's definitely not the worst thing I've watched for this podcast. There's still some of those Oscar movies that I watched that just were suffering incarnate. But this is, oh man.
Look, I think this is a fine movie. I respect the 6.8 rating on IMDb. I don't think it's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch it again if it wasn't for the podcast.
That's and something we can agree on.
I may never watch it again.
Oh, I will never watch it again.
But I think for what it is, it's a Valentine's Day movie. I mean, this came out February 1st.
Yep.
It's a Valentine's Day movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it accomplishes its goal. Being
a
nice hour and a half long
So
popcorn, make out with your girlfriend flick.
Mate, I don't know. See,
fun for the whole family.
I see. I feel like if I went and saw this with my girlfriend, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it and make out with the girlfriend because there's so many issues with this movie in my mind where I just feel like every time I'd be going in for a kiss, be like, but no, that doesn't even make sense.
I know.
Do you see that?
No, you gotta ignore the issue. This is not a movie for people who can't just enjoy a movie.
I can just enjoy a movie, but not when there's just...
That being said, I'm going to enjoy ripping this to shreds.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of problems.
There's a lot of problems. There's a lot. So I will say, one of my part of, and for the longest time until I rewatched it and also saw How Many Falls, one of my biggest issues with this movie is what I call the Twilight effect. Is ever since Twilight, maybe before Twilight, but Twilight definitely put this on the map, I just don't know why we've been romanticizing our monsters. I like my monsters to be monsters. Vampires aren't sexy and glamorous and glittery. They're blood-sucking corpses that they can mesmerize you. That's always been a thing, but no one is like, ooh, vampire, I hope I get alone with them. Werewolves rip you to shred.
What do
Zombies
you mean? The
eat
entire
you.
Vampire mythos is, ooh, vampires, I hope I get along with them.
No, that's all. It's not that.
Everybody
that's what
wants to be
the
vampire.
No.
For a century.
You're a freaking corpse, and you can't survive.
No, but you get to be beautiful and live forever and be a creature of the night.
It's mesmerizing. It's all a lie, a sham. Like I said, it's always been for me. I want my monsters to be monsters, and ever since Twilight, was Warm Bodies. Even Lisa Frankenstein took Frankenstein and tried to make. I mean, that one was kind of funny, but still, overall,
it was such a terrible movie, though.
It was, but overall, it's like, yeah, it's like why.
This is better than Lisa Frankenstein. Oh, Donnell, come on! This is easily better.
No, there's more. So
I could barely watch Lisa Frankenstein.
On the premise, maybe, but there's so many. Because, like I said, on my second watch, I have a lot more issues with it because I've also realized there's just so many holes in it. Just like, what is going on? Where Lisa Frankenstein, I won't say that was perfect or anything because it wasn't, but it stayed so simple surface level that it really couldn't have plot holes because there wasn't much of a plot to poke holes into where this movie tries to. But yeah, let's jump into this. That's what I'll say. That's one thing that about this movie is like because we're about to get to this. There's a lot of people in this movie that I like. A lot of people that I like. That I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, the lead actor in this movie is someone who I'd put on my list of people who, like, when I see they're in a movie, I'm instantly at least intrigued. I may not see it, but you say their name, like, oh well, what's it about? And I might be going to the theater to see that.
All right. Well, let's start with director and screenwriter for this. Jonathan Levine.
Yep.
The other thing that he's done that I've seen is Long Shot.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fantastic romantic comedy.
Never
I
seen
respect
Long
that
Shot.
he. Oh, well, it is totally worth seeing.
Okay.
It is maybe like, oh man, who's the actor in that? Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's like maybe my favorite Seth Rogen movie. To be honest,
he did another movie because well, the one that stood out to me was actually the movie he did before Warm Bodies, which also has Seth Rogen, which is 50-50.
I've never seen
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen, Bryce Dallas Howard, Anna Kendrick. Like
what's it about?
It's about a guy who has cancer, 50-50 chance of dying.
Okay.
And so Joseph Gordon-Levitt
that doesn't
has
sound like
cancer.
a happy fun movie.
It actually is because basically Joseph Gordon-Levitt has cancer. Seth Rogen is his best friend, and he basically decides like there's a 50-50 chance I'm gonna die, so I'm gonna do it up. I'm gonna do all this stuff.
Nice. Okay.
And stuff.
Bucket list movie.
Yeah, and a little bit of a love story because I mean, it's Anna Kendrick. You know, you're gonna if you're about to leave this mortal coil and you have a shot at Andrew Kendrick, you're gonna take it.
But I respect this guy because looking at his stuff, he writes and directs and produces his own movies.
Yeah.
And I respect the hell out of that, even though
yeah.
he's done a bunch of stuff I haven't seen. But everything that I have seen by him, I think is fine and good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even if you disagree with this particular one. This is based on a book.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Written by Isaac Marion. And not only a book, a 4-book series. Yes.
Okay.
There's 1 prequel and 2 sequels to this.
Okay.
I'm surprised that they did not make other movies based on this. And I'm not going to read the books.
No, you're not.
I'm not interested in reading the books.
Come on.
I'm a little interested in reading the books, but I'm not going to.
Hey, I just saw this. Isaac, the guy who wrote it, he's from Seattle.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They're local. We could go bump into him.
But yeah, nothing else of note from that guy. You know, he just wrote this book, and the other guy read it and must. I guess it was a well-received book.
Okay.
And the guy was like, "Oh, I want to turn that into a movie."
Yeah.
And I think it worked out because I mean, it had a $35 million budget, which is really crazy because they got a lot of effects and stuff going on with the bony skeleton zombie guys.
Yeah.
Like there's, the makeup and the sets and stuff. Like this was not.
This is no insult to it either because it's smart. Is they made very certain with the scenes with the bonies were always in the dark or the shadows, so you don't have to worry as much about the details. And like I said, that's not an insult. That's just smart. Like you said, you got a smaller budget. You want your stuff to look good, but in order to make it look good in the daylight, it's going to cost you extra, $15 million. So it's like that's just smart, All right, let's hop into the producers real quick. 3 producers. All 3 of them are your you see with movies like there's a lot of writer producers, director producers, and then of course actors get production credits, and then sometimes are actual producers. But these 3 are all 3 of them are like your producer, where it's like all they do is give money to films. To be made. Like I looked at a couple of them. None of them really seem to, like I said, it doesn't seem to have done any writing. But anyways, there's David Haberman, Tob Lieberman, and Bruna Pandrea, Papadrea. Yeah, there we go. I can read. But yeah, so like I said, all 3 of them just producers. But I will point out, just because I feel like this movie flew under the radar and I liked it, I feel like more people should give it a check out. I can't remember if you said you ended up watching it or not, but in 2022, David and Todd helped produce the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie.
The new one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
It's a bizarre.
Yeah.
It is a bizarre movie.
It's very bizarre, but I liked their take on it with them being the Chip and Dale being actual characters, and just like they're basically in their later or midlife or later stages of life where they're like kind of like they're retired, they're coming out of retirement. It was fun. I liked it, and I just felt like it was kind of during the pandemic time when that movie came out, so a lot of movies ended up.
I tell you what, though, David Haberman, he was executive in charge of production Walt Disney Studios, and he oversaw Stakeout, Dead Poets Society, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Pretty Woman, What About Bob, Father of the Bride, Sister Act, and When a Man Loves a Woman.
Damn.
That's a list.
That is a portfolio right there.
That is a
that's
list.
Walk into any place and
that
pitch
is
something, and they're going to listen to you.
That is the 80s right there.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, so starring
Nicholas Hoult.
Love him. Love this guy.
Yeah.
Love this guy.
They're so he is one of those actors that I think at the end of his career is going to be, great achievement. He's going to really have, I mean, he's still pretty young now.
He's 2 years younger than me. Frustrates me.
But yeah, he About a Boy is kind of when he came onto the scene as a child actor.
Yep.
He was Beast.
Yep.
In
Loved
the
him
X-Men.
as Beast.
Yeah.
Was fantastic.
I didn't know he played Nux in Mad Max Fury Road.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you what upsets me, though, is that Mad Max Fury Road was 10 years ago. 2015.
Man.
I don't like that information.
What the hell
being
is
in my
going
head
on?
at all. He was in The Menu, which we love.
Yep.
In 2022.
Yep.
He's in The Great, which if you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. It's about the rise of Catherine the Great. He plays Peter the Great.
Okay.
And
Oh yeah.
Like, it's really good, and he does a fantastic character in that. There's also a lesser known movie called Equals that I really liked. That was from 2015, where he plays opposite Kirsten Stewart in kind of like a dystopian world where everybody's been devoid of emotions. But they kind of like stop taking their emotion medicine, and fall in love, and it's a very slow.
I do remember hearing
it's a
about
rainy,
this movie. Never
rainy
watched it.
Sunday morning slow love story movie, but I really liked it, and they did fantastic. It's when I really started liking Kirsten Stewart.
Yeah,
that movie.
Okay.
It's when I started liking both Kirsten Stewart and Nicholas Hoult. Was when I watched Equals, and I'm like, these two can act.
Yeah,
like crazy. But it's an odd movie.
I would imagine.
It's outside the norm. And he's going to be playing Lex Luthor in Superman next year.
And I'll be honest, I like it. I mean,
if you've seen
shave
The Great,
his head.
If you've seen The Great, he's got such range that I have no doubt that he's going to pull something off. And I mean, especially in a James Gunn movie.
Yeah.
That's going to be, well, I don't know who's directing it. It's not
James Gunn.
Oh, it is James Gunn?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he's not just in the background.
He has full control of the Superman movie. Like basically he's producing. Of course, he's writing it. He's producing it. He's directing it. He's doing all of it. Like
crazy.
It's going to be a James Gunn piece. So I mean, it's a good thing in my opinion because I think James Gunn does a lot of good work when it comes to superheroes. But also, it's like if the DC universe starts out on a stumble again, it's like there's only one man who can be blamed. Before we hop off him, I also want to point out because he's also in, which I want to see this movie just because I'm like, would never have thought of them to remake it, but he's also going to be in the remake that's come out this year of Nosferatu.
Yeah, I'm excited about that movie.
Yeah.
Everybody in Hollywood wants a piece of that because it's like the first vampire movie, man.
It's the original.
Yeah,
without it, we don't have any of the vampire movies.
So Nicholas Hoult plays Zombie R. R. I like it. Next up, we have Teresa Palmer playing Julie.
Yep.
And I Am Number 4, which you just recently watched. I guess she had a minor role in Hacksaw Ridge in 2016. And the only thing that I know her from is a show called A Discovery of Witches, which lasted for 4 seasons, and it is the worst piece of hot shit that I could not stop watching. I started watching it, and it is just the most atrocious dialogue and story, but there's something about it that I was just like, just keep shoving it into my vein like heroin. I know this is bad for me, but I can't stop.
You just got to get another hit, man. You just got to get another hit.
I don't care for this actress at all. But,
No.
What are you gonna do?
Like I said, there's a lot of actors.
She's not terrible. She acts better. I couldn't stand in front of a camera and do anything.
Oh hell no!
So
I did a little bit of acting. I might be able to get up there.
Maybe she just hasn't found the role that's gonna rocket her into success or whatever. John Malkovich. Randomly in this for like 5 minutes.
I love John Malkovich.
Like literally 5 minutes. He's in this.
He sold up a good amount. I'd say at least 20.
No, 20 minutes out of this 130-minute movie?
15.
He's got like a 45-second video that he's in. He's on a screen for 45 seconds.
So he has a memory with him. Then I mean, he doesn't say anything, or he says a few things, but
I guess it's like the dinner city, like dinner party, like flashback.
Yeah, there's him driving through the city when she's hiding from him,
which is only on screen for 3 1/4 seconds.
He talks to him when she gets back. There's an argument they have.
Like the longest scene is like when she goes to talk to him.
Yeah.
To try and like be like, hey, the zombies, there's weird things happening with the zombies, and that scene only lasted 2.5 minutes.
Okay, nice. I mean,
I'll give you 10 minutes. I'll do 10 minutes.
Okay, let's. I think 10.
Somewhere between 5 and 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not 20.
No,
anyway,
not 20,
he is. Yeah. They did not spend a lot of money on John Malkovich.
No,
they did not have enough money.
You don't got enough money to have a lot of John Malkovich.
I mean, there's not a lot that we can really say. We don't have enough time in the world to talk about all the movies that John Malkovich has been. Mostly because I realized he's got 10 movies coming out next year. 10? This dude just loves to work.
Getting work.
He's got like 5 to 15 movies a year for like ever, for like 100 years or something. He might be undead. I don't know.
You just said he might be undead. So I'm on his Wikipedia page, and you scroll down to his movies, and then, like you said, so 10 movies. He's going to be in the Fantastic Four. But
anyways, He's he like a villain or something?
It says to be announced. They don't know yet. But anyway, so like they say 2025 Fantastic Four, and then to be announced, they have 4 movies, and then at the bottom of his profile, for some reason, it says in the year 2115, he's putting out a movie 100 years.
Yeah. No, so he did a movie that they put in a vault that doesn't unlock for 100 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so nobody alive today will get to see it.
No one gets to see that?
Yeah.
It's like that stupid Wu-Tang album.
Well, there might be someone alive today.
Yeah,
but when he did the movie,
there might be someone alive today who gets to see it. But
it's an interesting thing to look into.
So be a movie. Better be if I'm. I mean, it's not going to be me, but if I'm the person who's alive today who gets to see John Malkovich's movie in 2115. If it ain't a banger, like, I waited all this time for this.
It could just be like a documentary or something, or just maybe like. Maybe it's just a movie with a bunch of collections of like interviews and like questions about, hey, what was life like 100 years ago?
Yeah,
you know, kind of, or what was life? Yeah, that kind of thing. That's what I'm expecting. Yeah, nothing super great out of that. Rob Corddry.
Yep.
Plays Zombie M. The best friend of Zombie R.
Yep.
He's just a good supporting comedy actor.
Yeah.
He's kind of in that Will Ferrell like troupe thing. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but
I've liked a good amount of stuff.
I don't like his comedy, but I don't know if that's him or the writing.
I would say I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I have seen a lot of movies that I like that he is in.
I didn't realize he voiced Buddy in Hit Monkey season 2. He was in Hot Tub Time Machine, of course, played a major character, played Lou. And he was in Ballers, which was a show I really enjoyed. And he has a pretty main role in Ballers.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's more of a serious. I mean, it's a comedic role, but it's still a more serious role. Not as wacky as his normal stuff.
It's
in
grounded.
Ballers. Yeah.
I was gonna say I also originally when we first started watching What We Do in the Shadows, I thought Rob Corddry was what's his face?
Robert. I don't remember the name. Colin Robinson.
Yeah, Colin Robinson. When we first started watching that, I was like, oh, look, it's Rob Corddry, and then I was like, oh, that's not Rob Corddry.
A couple of other minor roles. Leo Tipton. Leo, I believe. Lio. It's a lady's name. I don't know why it's Leo. Playing Nora. Nothing of note.
Yeah. This
hasn't done anything, gone nowhere, and I think she's kind of got screwed because I'll tell you what, this is an actress that looks like if you merged Denise Richards and Maddie Phillips.
Yes.
And now Maddie Phillips is around to take all the roles that this poor girl would have gotten. Yeah, I mean, it's a minor role. She doesn't really like stand out necessarily in this. She's not meant to. She's not a main character.
Just the best friend.
Yeah.
Shows up at the beginning, shows up at the end.
She's in it about as much as John Malkovich.
Yeah,
she gets equal screen time with John Malkovich. That's saying something, you know. And then Dave Franco playing Perry. I did not know that he voiced the Riddler in Young Justice. He was in Now You See Me. And of course, Now You See Me 2.
I will always say they messed up on the sequel of that movie.
Yeah, well, there's a Now You See Me 3 coming, which I don't know who asked for that.
But still, I mean, it's it's just it's so simple. Now you see me. When you release it simple, it's called Now You Don't. It's that simple. It's that simple. How do you screw that up?
Not if there's going to be a third one, because then what is it? What's the third one?
No, but one is like
Ta-da!
you said. Who asked for a third one?
Fair enough. And of course, The Disaster Artist.
Yes,
which he did fantastic in, and is a great movie.
Yep.
Yeah, totally worth seeing. That's really it.
That's the cast.
Yeah. Yep. Everybody else is just like background,
maybe a couple words here or there, but yeah.
I went to go look.
Yeah, what was coming out
again? February 1st, 2013. Actually, kind of had a weird release. It got released like 2 weeks earlier in Rome.
Yeah,
for some reason, and then it got released in like Russia or something like 2 weeks after, whatever. But I looked a month behind and a month forward from when this came out. Nothing. Movie 43, but that was a flop. Bleh. Like nobody could believe, but maybe that took some ticket money. They were hyping
that up so much, and then that came out.
February 14th, A Good Day to Die Hard.
Okay,
but that was not competing with this. This was a Valentine's weekend movie. It made all of its money on Valentine's Day weekend.
Yep.
Valentine's Day couples not going to A Good Day to Die Hard, which honestly, it's Good Day to Die Hard, the worst of the Die Hard movies.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. Yeah. No, I'm surprised. I was interested in what you'd dig up, but just nothing.
Nope. There's nothing. This was just a bad year for early part of the. I mean, there's not a lot of good stuff that comes out in January,
January, February. You're not getting.
That's where the romantic comedies.
Yeah, I was expecting there to be maybe some other romantic comedies. Though. Nope. Something else.
Nothing that stood out to me. But I'm not a connoisseur of the romantic com. So yeah. Well, we'll get into this movie, the meat and potatoes, after these short messages. Hey, if you like the podcast, you should check out our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. If you ever have suggestions on what movies we should do for Christmas, Halloween, Valentine's Day, the one with the leprechaun,
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. What other holidays are there?
I mean, I was going to say the 4th of
Easter.
July.
Is there any Easter movies?
Oh, there's definitely some Easter
4th of July.
I don't know.
That's going to be dark movies. Just write us.
Yeah.
watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you and hear your suggestions. Yeah.
Maybe we'll watch it. Maybe we won't. Don't know.
Yeah. There on our website, you can also find links to our Patreon and to support us on Spotify and all that jazz. Don't know what else should they do.
Oh, yeah. As Robert already hinted at, we do holiday specials. So, of course, we have other things in between us, but we are going to be doing a Christmas special. I think we know what we're covering, but we're still going to do our.
Are we getting Mike in the studio to do the thing?
We can still do it.
We can still talk about
exactly. We gotta talk about what's going on with the Hallmark movies. We can't just let that slide, even if we're not going to cover one this year. But yeah. So we're gonna have a Christmas special, and then as we've already talked about on other episodes, I hope you're ready because Silo's back, and I'm ready.
Yeah. So we're gonna do it. We didn't talk about it when it first aired. So we're gonna do a quick recap episode of season 1, just before we start covering season 2 in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Yeah. So just stay tuned for all of that.
All right, let's talk about this movie.
Let's talk about this movie.
Starts out with an internal monologue from our guy R.
Yep.
Who is not named R yet. He's just a random zombie. Walking through an airport. And it would suck to be stuck in all these jobs. Just the guy who's just like scanning all the zombies as they walk by.
Who's just a janitor mopping up stuff. So I mean, this movie starts, and this is like our first, and I guess you could say like, well, we've never had a zombie perspective movie, but it shows that these zombies are conscious to some extent. You know, they're aware of what's going on. They just don't really seem to have any control over it. I mean, they do, but they don't. But yeah. So anyways, ours just kind of just doing his normal routine, which is just to wander around pointlessly until he meets up with his buddy M. Now, so they have him. Is he ever referred to as M in the movie? Because
no,
he's just listed as M, and I was like, why is he M? They never never get to that part.
Yeah. So by the way, there is a 2007 movie called Zombies, about also known as Wasting Away, that is from the perspective of zombies.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Don't get that often.
Nope.
But yeah, so he kind of gives us a rundown of what it's like being a zombie. Basically going over just you don't feel anything. You're kind of just moving forward in a sense, and that everything is just very gray in a sense.
But you got thoughts in your head.
You have thoughts in your head, but you can't really do anything about it.
I talked about the bonies.
Yep.
How they're just like different kinds of zombies
that
they eventually turn into.
All zombies eventually become bonies. Yep. I like, or not like, but I so he talked about the bonies, but he's like, oh yeah, they'll go after anything that
with a heartbeat.
With a heartbeat. And then
which comes up later.
But the thing that is weird is the way he says it, because it makes it seem like, and this is where one of my issues come with later on in the movie, but it makes it seem like the normal zombies, like R, whatever you want to call them, only go after humans and eat their brains, where the bonies will eat anything. And so, because this movie
I'm assuming the bonies want brains too.
Yeah, but they also eat anything in a sense. Yep. So here's the issues with this movie is this movie spends the whole time trying to make you feel sympathetic to the zombies, but so many things that the zombies do, even though they kind of lightly paint over it, I'm like, no, they're worse. Like the bonies are
just beasts.
Yeah, they have no control. And so yes, do they attack humans? Sure, but it's like they're just driven by it, where they show that these zombies can think, they can make choices, and the fact, and also I believe, because at one point a little bit later when this is jumping ahead, but when he's eating her boyfriend, he says, if I stop now and leave his brain, he'll become a zombie like me.
Yeah.
But brains are so good. And so my thing is like, look, he says zombies need to eat brains. I'm like, I don't think you do. I think just eating flesh sustains the zombies. Yeah. The brains are the treat. So you're choosing, the bonies are just beasts and they'll eat anything. But I feel like, the bonies also prove, since you will be eventually become a bony, the bonies prove you can just eat anything. You could eat a dog. You could eat any random animal and stuff. You don't have to eat humans. And like I said, the bonies aren't conscious, so I'm not blaming them. You are conscious. You are choosing to eat humans, and you are choosing to eat their brains. So I'm like, you're terrible.
He's conflicted about it.
He's not conflicted about it until he runs into Julie. Like, before Julie, he didn't give a rat's ass about anybody.
I feel like his brain is disconnected from his motor functions in some ways.
Yeah,
like he's like, his mind is trapped inside of a zombie.
Okay,
he can't necessarily control it,
right?
To some degree, but yeah, I mean, there's some moral questionability for sure.
Lots of moral questionability.
Yeah, anyway, but he lives in an airplane.
Yep. On an
listens to music.
Airport. Yep.
Which is weird. See, but that also is like he's not just a shambling zombie. He's got some function.
The more they show you that they're not just shambling zombies, the worse they become. That's my problem. It's like if they were just zombies, you're like, oh yeah, that's not their fault. But the more they show you, you're like, yeah, he's enjoying music. He enjoys doing stuff. And the whole time I was like,
collecting things.
Yeah.
He's got a house.
Got a place to call home, a place to live.
But he goes to see his friend M. And he immediately says, we can't communicate. Yeah. They can absolutely communicate from the beginning.
Yes.
Because he says hungry.
Yep.
And his friend says city.
Yep.
And they're like, let's go to the city. They're communicating.
I like how they explain that zombies.
It's not Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But they're communicating.
But zombies group together in packs, like, just because, like, it makes it easier to hunt. Like they make it like, which is another logical choice. But anyways, so yeah, they head out in a hunting group, and this is where we get to
the settlement.
Yeah,
it's really, this settlement is really weird because it's like a wall around a city. But then when they go in, it doesn't feel like a city.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
like when they show you the outside, kind of
like the suburbs almost.
Yes. And so, yeah, Julie and her boyfriend and her friends are sent out by Julie's father.
On a big screen.
Yeah, on a big screen.
And I seem to remember the first time I saw this movie that this guy was more of like a Machiavellian. Machiavellian? No. Like
Machiavellian.
No. Who was the bad guy during in Italy during the Nazi stuff? Mussolini.
Mussolini.
Yeah. I thought he was gonna be like a Mussolini character in my head. That he was gonna be like, I am controlling the people, kind of thing with the big screen. But that was not what his character was.
No. But yeah, so we're introduced, and like I said, once again, this is where this movie loses me some because Julie is set up to be like, our sympathetic one, our stuff.
The heroine. Yeah.
The heroine, and all the stuff she says, like until this movie and this stuff. So I'm feeling like I don't know how long the zombie apocalypse has been going on in this world. I mean, it's always been a little bit. We got a settlement. We've already got established sort of stuff. So I'm saying at least 2 years, but maybe longer. Maybe Julie's grown up in zombie infested. Maybe she was born into a zombie infested world, or maybe she's been more for a time.
No, they definitely remember pre-zombie.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been at least 2 years, if not longer.
Yeah. I also don't understand why her and her boyfriend are going out.
Yeah,
they are the daughter and the boyfriend.
Yeah,
of the daughter to the leader of the thing. And there's like a flashback. There's like a memory scene where they're like eating like a fancy dinner with like John Malkovich's character, and it is clear they're talking about it clearly as after the apocalypse.
Yeah.
These are like gilded spoon.
I mean, it shows that John Malkovich, because that's the thing is they want you to believe John Malkovich is the bad guy, but the whole time I'm watching, like he's
not the bad
sensible
guy.
choices.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also shows that John Malkovich is about equal. Like, and hey, no one gets a free ride. Like, I think it just shows that he's about equality. He's like, yeah, my own daughter will also participate. I'm not going to keep her here. Like, just everyone needs to pull their own, which is a good thing for a leader to have. But yeah, basically, like, eye rolls when her dad like. If it's up to our dad, we all just stay in this walled city. And I'm like, yeah, it's a zombie. What is? I'm like, Julie, what's your? Like I said, we haven't gotten to the point where maybe zombies come back. So as far as we know, zombies are gone. They're just going to eat everybody. And you expand the walls eventually as you keep it clearing more territory. But overall, it's like, that's what you do. You fortify a location that you can keep safe, make sure everybody you can provide for them and keep them safe. And then maybe once we start expanding, but what like I just like Julie like is upset. Oh, Dad's so strict, and I'm just like, Dad's keeping you freaking alive. Like I'm like, what? Why are you upset? Like, she paints him as this ununderstanding man, and I'm just like, no, he's
it's just teenage angst.
I guess, but I don't know what does he want?
So yeah, it picks up with them outside the wall.
Yep.
They're scavenging a pharmacy.
Yep.
First, you send like a motorcade with like 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't send just 4 kids with backpacks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because how much are they really going to bring back on their own anyways?
Yeah, and also, what if you run into zombies?
Yep.
Right? You want like a whole army troop with machine guns. Right? And also, this pharmacy would be cleared out. This pharmacy is stacked.
Yeah. Like
with materials.
So
I would just be dumping that into a shopping cart, just like running my hand across the shelf.
We see this a couple times, like when they have to get food for Julie and then stuff, or they go to a house and stuff, and like just like everywhere they go, there's just plentiful supplies, and I'm just like, what apocalypse is this?
Yeah,
where everything has
I would have liked to have known, like, with a timeline, like how long had the apocalypse been going on? Because it's been some time.
Maybe the prequel book tells you. Yes.
There you go.
Sounds like you got to read that book, Robert. No.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second. So the prequel is called The New Hunger.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the second and third sequel is The Burning World and The Living. I feel like they kind of nicely wrap up. I don't know if the movie like covers multiple books or something.
Yeah.
But it feels like they kind of wrap the story up nice and tight in this movie.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I mean, I imagine I would bet even if it's not multiple sequels, they might have, done the first book as a movie and thinking that they're not going to do a sequel of this movie. Maybe they just never thought of it that way.
Because
they just kind of looked at how the last book wraps things up and like, oh, we'll just paste that
There's
on.
kind of a lot of post to this movie, which we'll get to at the end and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, they get the zombies smell them, and with R in charge and M behind and a whole nother group with them. And they attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They attack.
Dave Franco's character goes down immediately.
Mm-hmm.
He is, other than some flashbacks, he is barely in this movie.
Barely in this movie. So the zombies attack. The group gets separated. And James Franco, which I do have to say, I don't know why he was up on this countertop. It did not seem like I mean, I guess you could look around, but I just feel like, that's not, you're gonna have to jump.
Yeah, you're making your legs vulnerable,
exactly.
man.
Like, I don't know, but he just gets literally like yanked off the countertop, head hit and down, and then he gets R eats him. Dave Frankel's character, I don't know if we answered that, is her boyfriend. Was her boyfriend, and so as R eats him, and while he's eating him, he's set, like I already said, if I stop without eating his brain, he becomes a zombie.
Yep.
But brains are so good, and that's the only way we can get memories.
Yep.
Once again, this makes me be like, R's a terrible person.
Oh yeah.
Because you're still like, you're choosing to do this.
He's conflicted about it.
Is he? Because no, he's not conflicted because he keeps eating. He keeps Dave's brain around and keeps eating it throughout the movies to get more memories so he can be more in love. Like,
no. First half of this movie, the relationship from the zombie perspective, super not cool.
No.
Super R word.
Yeah.
E.
Yes, 100%. And like I said, he's still using stolen memories to be more likable to this girl and all that stuff. And I'm just like, what the hell, man?
So before he eats James Franco's character, he does have a moment where he sees her. And he kind of stops, and there's kind of some music playing and stuff like that. But the question is, like, would he have like fallen in love with her without the boyfriend brain?
I mean, that's the question. So my thing is like, because this is kind of jumping ahead, but basically seeing her is the catalyst that starts him towards healing.
Yeah.
If we don't want to call it. And so my thing is like, we'll get to my views on this whole event, but my thing is like, basically it's like, okay, so seeing Julie was what spurred him to change. And so my whole thing is like, okay, so essentially what you're telling me is that any zombie, because if he can do it, and as we see with other zombies, obviously they can do it, any zombie could stop being a zombie.
Yeah.
Anytime, if they had enough motivation.
Yeah.
So,
if they ate the right brains at the right moment.
Well, I feel like the change happens before. I feel like the brain eating is just a continuation of it, or like helps him.
Well, the change really
when
starts.
He first sees her, that's what, like, while all those zombies are going ape on everybody, like, he sees her and he's just stunned. And that, so that's why I'm like, that's the changing point in my mind. Like, the brains definitely help afterwards, but I feel like it was already in motion.
Little bit. Yeah.
When he looked at her. So I'm just saying, like, there was no brains involved. It was just literally, he had something that drove him enough, which was a beautiful girl, I guess, in his mind. And my thing is like, that's all it takes is someone pretty enough for you to be like, hey, maybe I won't be a zombie. Or like, if that's all it takes, zombies are terrible people. I mean, they are people.
Also, I question, did the humans not like run any tests on the zombies?
Yeah.
And start to learn this sort of thing that they can talk and they're not just like mindless shambling things.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like you would pick up on that real quick in a scientific situation.
I mean, remember the zombies' reaction to the humans pretty much. It's like, the zombies, when no humans are around, they're, like I said, they're pretty docile. They seem to be able to communicate, and they seem to be able to like live a life more than just sounding zombies. But as soon as they see humans, they kind of go into this feral state. So if you're a human, if every time you go around they just instantly go feral, then like, it's hard for you to ever see that other side of them. Like I said, the
I feel like somebody would have been like with a sniper rifle looking from a mile away, would have been like, that zombie's acting interesting.
Yeah,
we should tell the scientist about that. You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They go back to his plane, and the whole time I'm just like, why is she following him?
Yeah.
Why is she going in this plane?
Because he is the one who, because she's basically it. So yeah, what happens?
I mean, he was talking to her.
She's about to she's also the other zombie's about to eat her, or she's and stuff, and he covers her with some zombie blood.
Yeah.
So she smells like them and is able to lead her away. So I think it's just more of a, if I was about to die, I was surrounded by a pack of hyenas and was about to get eaten alive, and then one of those hyenas like came up to me and put a hyena skin over me
Yeah.
and walk me out of the hyenas. While like I said, like her, while I'm not gonna just instantly be like, this hyena's cool. I'm also like, I'm not like other option right now is get eaten by other hyenas. So I guess this is where I'm going, sort of thing.
I mean, but walking all the way to the airport from the inner city seems a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but also like this. Oh, if you put a little bit of
it's not even
blood,
that much. Like, so even though I'm not a big fan of this, I was a big fan of it, but I definitely fell out of it. But still, The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I watched that for a long time, and they do this same thing,
but they like drench themselves.
Yeah. But it's also like one of the grossest things you have to watch while watching it, because like no, it's like in this movie, it's like he like runs 3 fingers with just a little bit of zombie blood over her face. In The Walking Dead, it's like no, you cut open a zombie and you pull out their intestines and you drape them over you and let the blood seep all down you. So I'm just like, there's a difference here. If it just takes a little dab and that stops
and
them.
That makes me question. This is Zombie 101.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing you try. Is covering yourself in blood and guts.
Yeah.
And then shambling around amongst the horde.
Yep.
And in zombie lore, it works.
Yep.
So why are they not taking out a bag of zombie blood on them when they go out?
I'm going scavenging. I'm going to have a zombie blood.
Put a little. I mean, I don't even know if you would need like to put any on your skin.
Yeah.
You could just have something on you around your neck that smelled like zombie blood and just blend in.
And then you just
Again, where's the scientific research in this world? Because I'm going to say it's been at least 10 years.
Okay.
Like that's enough time to figure out some.
Yeah.
They had enough time to build the wall.
Yeah, they got a wall built.
Yeah.
They got all. So
the papers were running because there's the scene where they pan over and they say the end on like the USA Today paper in the paper box thing, which I don't even know if those are things anymore. And I'm like, okay, so they had time. They were delivering. It didn't happen fast enough that they stopped delivering papers. You know. And it's there's lots of questions. So she's kind of resting in the plane. He eats more boyfriend brains, and has a flashback of her sneaking him outside the city, which comes up later when he tries to sneak in
through a subway.
Yeah, I love that they do all these things. Like when things happen, it's not just like, oh, he just found his way in. No, it's because he knew that. From the memories that he got
that he stole.
Yeah. Which I'm assuming, yes, absolutely. And I'm like, okay, well then just like the James Franco character is just part of him from now on.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. And so, so they're there, and she wants to she wants to escape. She wants to get home. She doesn't trust R, as you shouldn't. You shouldn't trust R in this scenario, just like I wouldn't trust that hyena. But anyways, and so she tries to escape, but right away zombies get on her. They smell her, and R has to save her again, and he takes her back to the plane. And like you said, this is where things are a little R-wordy. Because he basically convinces her. He's like,
he's super creeping on her.
You can't go back yet because it's all a lie. Like it's too many zombies. They'll be able, like I said, all you gotta do is dab it up a little bit and head out. But this is what annoys me is in the very next scene. So they're like, yeah, they'll notice you. We gotta be low key. Gotta be chill for a couple of days, right? And then the very next scene, she's like, what can we do? The very next scene, they're driving a Mustang around the airport. I'm like, oh yeah, no, the zombies won't notice that at all. No one's.
Well, it doesn't seem like the zombies are attracted to sound.
It doesn't matter. They're attracted to sound. The fact that you're out there driving around in a car, it's just like, okay, yeah, you're supposed to be blending in. When was the last time a zombie drove a car?
All right, guys. So let's talk about one of the things that I really love about this movie that I'm assuming you are okay with.
Okay.
Or if you don't, and if not like.
Okay.
Is the internal monologue of R, where he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Don't be creepy. Don't be creepy." Or like later, and like, or like later when he's like, "Say something human. Say something human." He's like, "How are you?"
Yeah.
Nailed it. like there's some funny moments in this.
His internal monologue does bring some comedy and levity to it, but it also is one of the biggest issues I have because his internal monologue is what proves that he is a conscious being, and so everything he's doing.
Well, I don't want to talk about like that. I want to talk about the little funny bits that he does. That's like the little comic interludes that they throw in. I think are really great. Yeah. So she goes to sleep after he gives her a blanket. And he just sits down, and this is when his heart starts to wake up.
Yes,
it starts
for
beating.
The first time. Yeah, and who knows how long.
So it's the next morning.
Yep.
She's like, I need some food.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out and search for food. She decides that she's going to leave the plane.
Yeah.
She goes out, and at first it's fine. And then all of a sudden, like a couple of zombie hordes start to show up, and they're sniffing around, and they look and smell a human.
Yeah.
And she's like hiding behind the wheels of an airplane.
Yep.
And he shows up, and that's when he kind of puts some zombie blood on her.
Yeah.
To kind of get her back in the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they spend some time, like I said, R does listen to music, and so they spend some time basically bonding, listening to music, having a good time together.
I like how he's a record snob.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it sounds better.
Robert bonds with R over that too.
Have a hangout montage.
Yeah. Well, hangout montage, but after a few days, Julie tries to go home again.
Well, before that, he does eat more boyfriend brain.
Yes.
And has the memory of seeing him kill himself.
Yes.
Or kill the boyfriend. And he like spits it out, like disgusted and stuff like that. Like I feel like this is the real change in character, where he's like, oh, okay, this is not cool. This is disgusting. Of course, his heart has started beating.
Yeah.
I feel like as soon as his heart started beating, he should have stopped eating brains.
Really
and needed like regular food.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
And I mean, that's where the question a little bit later comes in. Well, we'll get there. We'll just get there. But yeah, so anyways, Julie decides to try to go home. But a horde basically surrounds her, with M being a part of it. And they're going to eat her.
Yep.
But R
and
shows
one of them
up.
is M.
Yeah, I said, M being a part of it. Yep. But R shows up and basically like fights him and stops him, and M is confused, which I would be too.
Like, damn, bro.
Like, yeah, it's like what is going on?
Bros before hoes. Like, give me that brain
and stuff. And so R basically convinces them to let her go. And we see that M and the rest of the zombie horde also are starting to. We see a little bit
basically
later.
Him and R and M basically have a conversation.
Yes, they have a conversation, and he convinces them like, "Hey, I'm going to get her out of here." And they let him go. They hop in the Mustang that they were driving earlier, and they leave. And they drive to, as we already talked about, they drive to a abandoned city where they break into a house that just conveniently has just all sorts of just like a nice bed, clothing. There's food just waiting.
How has
for
this
them.
Not been raided?
And I'm just like, how is everything? How is this place not gutted? And Julie decides to sleep upstairs in the bed. And they're talking about Perry, her boyfriend, and R finally admits, I killed him.
Yep.
Julie's,
she takes it way too.
Yeah,
chill.
I would say Julie's reaction is just I don't understand it. I understand forgiveness. I understand moving on, but from this point forward, the love story of this movie. I mean, even before, because of how he fell in love with her, I was not okay with it. But from this point forward, the love story of this movie just rubbed me the wrong way.
It's weird
because
I mean, you ever lived through a zombie apocalypse, man? I mean, what are you gonna do?
I mean, while I will say in a zombie apocalypse, my standards may be lower because the populace is done. I kind of feel like if you are the one who personally murdered someone close to me, whether it's my significant other, boyfriend, mother, brother, son, anything, someone who's a best friend, like, while it might be like, hey, I'm not going to, because of circumstances, maybe I might agree, I'm not going to kill you. We're not going to be best friends. We're not going to fall in love. It's like, okay, you get to live, and I understand that it was different times and circumstances, but it's not like, and then we fell in love. Like the person who killed your last lover, you then fell in love with?
Well, she's not in love yet. She's not in love yet.
I know,
but also the thing that I took from it was I felt like there was an implication that the relationship with the boyfriend was on the back step. And also, like, she's probably used to people dying and losing people.
I mean, it's two things. I feel like, because that's the other thing, is like, I feel like that's painted in after the fact.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then also,
I mean, it's very, like, they do not go in depth on that.
And then also, once again, if her relationship is on the back step, it's because her boyfriend starts to have some more thoughts like her father. Which, once again, I will say, is the sensible way to live.
Because there
so
is
the
that scene
fact
where
that C is like, I'm not sure if I love him anymore because he's a sensible human being. I'm like, well, then you're an idiot, Julie.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm
there
sorry.
is the scene where like she says you're just like my father, and he says thank you.
Yeah.
But clearly she meant
and she's
it.
Like, it's not that wasn't a compliment. And I'm just like, like I said, the fact that C views her dad in the wrong, and like I said, so it's one of the things like, as the story comes together and we see that zombies can be healed and that sort of stuff. And her dad does stay on this path for a little bit till the end of the movie. But anyways, if you then continue to go that all zombies must die, kill them all on sight thing, then yeah, but it's like, until this event in this movie happens, no one has seen zombies coming to life. No one has seen zombies healing or getting better. So to be like, why are we killing all the zombies all the time? It's like, because they're freaking eating people.
Yeah,
like, it's just like,
no, the John Malkovich character is very much like that one character in Ghostbusters, the city inspector.
Yeah.
It was like, you have to shut down your unregulated nuclear reactor that you have in the center of downtown Manhattan.
Everyone's like, that guy's a bad guy. I'm like, that's actually doing his freaking job. If you find people with a nuclear reactor that's up in a random fire building, like, I'm going to have some words to say about that. That is definitely going in my report.
There's a quick scene with M, who's like sees himself in the mirror, and then sees some advertisements.
Yes.
And his heart wakes up.
Yep.
And then other people gather around him.
Other zombies around him.
Now, these were the same zombies that saw the same thing he did, which was that
they were part of the
and
horde.
Julie holding hands.
Yes. Yeah. They were part of the horde that was there when R and Julie were leaving. And so they got to see that connection. It's just like, basically it's the seeing them together somehow awakens zombies. So after R tells Julie though that he ate Perry, she does decide that she wants to like go on her own because it's just I mean I rightly so too. Is like how can you, even if you don't hate the person, how can you just be with the person who murdered someone?
No, I get it.
And so she goes off on her own. Gets back to the settlement.
Well, there is a moment. We have the worst scene in the movie for me is the zombie dream.
Yes,
where R has a dream about grass fields and seeing Julie and James Franco's character. We should say what the name of
Perry,
Perry,
and her best friend, who I don't know what her best friend's name is.
Her name is, I have it here somewhere. Nora. Yeah. And they're all having a picnic, and he shows up, and whatever. It's just a dream thing, but it's important. Character development that he can now.
Like I said, this is another one of those narratively being painted as a bad guy. James Franco's character is kind of a jerk to him, but I'm like, this never happened.
Franco.
Yes. Oh yeah, sorry.
It is James Franco's brother. But
yes.
Franco,
But like I said, when this scene happens, it's supposed to make it like, he's being a jerk. I'm like, but this never happened. This is not a real thing. So you can't be upset with him for dreaming about the guy of the boyfriend of the girl. You're like, hey, I had crushes on girls who had boyfriends before too, and I always in my mind was like, bet that guy's an asshole, but I had no proof.
But next morning, R wakes up. She's gone.
Yep.
She's gone back to the city. She's trying to get in the wall, and they have some sort of eye scanner thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want strip naked. I'm going to inspect every inch of this body. I mean, man, woman, I know it could be creepy. Whatever. We'll bring the female soldier out.
Zombie apocalypse.
We're making sure you are not bit because because you could get bit. There's got to be a time delay before like the eye scanner works. However, the eye scanner is supposed to work.
But I mean, maybe they've.
I guess all the zombies do kind of have like. Kind of glossy gray eyes.
Because that's one of the things
that happens
later on.
End,
So they have the eye scanner. It's one of those things of, once again, and this is the first time where you feel a little bit understand for Julie, but still not fully. So they won't let her back in until they scan her. And then even her dad had questions like, "Are you bitten?" and all this stuff.
Hey, he's just doing the sensible thing.
And it's the sensible thing, but also like his first concern. Definitely, which is, I mean, he is worried about the whole town and stuff, but still, it's like, you are her father, man. Maybe so.
I feel like
I could understand where she
upset.
That
she was missing.
I could.
He would have been crying.
But on the other side, he did send out a whole squad and himself went with them
he was
looking for her.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the same thing of this is weird tangents to go off on, but my mom always talks about her dad. And how angry and upset he always was, and like she never knew if he really loved her. Is one thing he says. I know this is getting really personal.
This is good.
I know, but the thing I always think about is he also tells me about
Halloween,
like
man.
he always provided for him. Always, I'm like, your dad is from a different time.
Yep.
And to him, it was like I provide for my family. I make sure that they are always taken care of.
Yeah.
And he did the duty. And that's kind of the way I see her dad. It was like, yeah, he doesn't exactly show the emotions like you would like, and you should. That's it. You definitely should show those emotions if you're a guy listening to this.
Yeah.
So there was, but there's a lot of guys who can't, but they still do care. Like I said, the fact that he went out, literally, his daughter's missing, and he has a whole town to be running and keeping safe, but he takes the time. He sends out patrols and goes himself to try and find her. So he doesn't. You think he should be crying, but it's like he's just not that kind of guy, you know.
So he starts he's realized she's gone. He starts walking back to the airport,
talking about how he's just gonna be a normal zombie again, not feeling, not thinking as much. But yeah,
runs into M
and the crew.
Yep. Who was woken up at an expeded rate,
very fast,
very quickly. He has got words and stuff. And this is really when the this had to be like Rob Corddry just being like, okay, well, I get to write my lines or something, because he's just like, bitches, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is Rob Corddry all the way. Like that is, or he brought in his own script writer that was like, this is how the guy talks, you know.
But yeah, and so M basically explains like, the rest of the zombies are coming to life. It's because of, seeing you two together. And also the bonies. The bonies are upset
after our
about
beating
it.
hearts.
They want you and her because they can see a change. And so R decides like, I gotta go tell Julie we gotta get ready for this attack, and we also gotta like save zombies because that's what we can do now. And so he heads off with the crew to the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows there's a back way in through the subway. He leaves the crew there. He sneaks in. So this book, because that's one thing I was looking at. This book was written as supposed to be another interpretation of the Romeo and Juliet story.
Mm-hmm.
And this,
they literally have him outside her window.
That's what I was saying. Is we literally get the Romeo and Juliet scene. But before that scene, actually, I wrote down this line just because I was like, this may be the dumbest line said in this movie. Is Julie is back in town. She's talking with Nora, and she's talking about her experience and trying to make it not sound crazy, because it would sound crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, corpse is just so stupid name we came up with for something we don't understand. I'm like, I'm going to stop you right there, Julie. No, corpse is something we do understand. It's not something a stupid name. And I'm like, what did you just say? Corpse is just a stupid name we came up with for something we don't understand? I was like, nah. You have lost me completely, Julie.
But he goes through the secret tunnel. I'm like, this needs to be locked down.
Oh yeah,
this is a weak link.
It's one of those things of like so like I said, and he knows of this tunnel because Julie showed it to Perry.
Yeah.
And he got it from a flashback, and I'm just like, how much meticulous her dad seems. Like, I'm not saying that there wouldn't be a secret escape tunnel out of the city. I'm saying that it wouldn't be there for long. Like, he's gonna be continually checking the walls and checking all the entrances, because he just seems like he's the kind of guy who's like, no, like everyone's staying safe in here, so he's gonna check all the walls again, make sure there's no
you would think Perry, like, once he found out about it, he would tell the dad, and be like, hey, there's a.
I mean, maybe not, because he knows it's something that, like, while he is definitely more of the dad's thinking mindset, he also is dating her and knows this is something that she wants, and that would be a betrayal on her. Is like, I feel like Perry would be torn on that.
I feel like he would be torn, but I feel like he would go once he because they have like the flashback scene where he joins the army, thing, and I feel like at that point he would have been like, hey, there's this secret entrance that we found, and we need to lock it down. We need to weld it up, kind of thing. So he eventually gets up into her house, into her room, with her friend.
I mean, they let him. Let's be clear, they opened the door and let him. It wasn't that. It wasn't climb up stalkery. He came. They had a little Romeo and Juliet scene on the balcony, and then they let him into the house.
By the way, Nora, friend, way too accepting of this situation.
Way too quickly. Just like, all right, cool. Like, she has not. I guess maybe she just shows how much she trusts her friend, but like, she has not experienced everything that she. I can't remember what the main character's name is. What the girl's name is. What's her name? Do you now remember?
I don't remember.
Neither one of them. doing terrible. Julie, for crying out loud. It's not even that. But yeah, so he hasn't experienced everything that Julie has. Right as soon as he sees R, she's like, "Is that him? All right, cool. Let's get him in here." And I'm just like, Nora, what's going on?
Not ringing the bell. There's zombies. Like, just start screaming. Yeah.
And so they devise a plan to convince her father that the zombies are healing.
And all it takes is a shower and a makeover.
That's what I was saying. We get a. So it's funny actually. So during this scene, Nora says he doesn't smell rotten, which I'm like, sure, maybe these zombies, because they aren't really dead or something, they don't smell rotten. It's like, but he hasn't taken a shower since he died. So even if he doesn't smell rotten like a corpse would, he smells funky as all hell. Yeah. I'm like, he hasn't taken a shower. But
wearing the same clothes.
Been wearing the same clothes. But yeah, they get him cleaned up. You know what?
That being said, there's probably not a lot of deodorant rolling around.
Yeah.
Everybody probably smells like shit.
I think people, like, everybody's going to smell worse than what we do in our current day-to-day life now. But there's a difference between, hey, I'm not wearing deodorant, but I still shower every couple of days.
I guess they do have hot water.
Yeah. And, hey, I haven't showered or changed. So like I said, there's a difference between I haven't worn deodorant, but I shower every couple of days, and I have at least 3 pairs of clothes. And hey, I've been wearing the same pair of clothes and haven't cleaned myself in 10 years. There's a difference between those two smells, Robert.
So Nora, the friend, is like, "Oh, I've got some makeup that I've been saving, that I've been hoarding." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Yeah. You're one of the people who goes out and looks for stuff, and you go to pharmacies."
Yep.
And the pharmacy is stacked with stuff.
There's plenty of makeup.
I tell you what's not a hot item in the apocalypse is hoarding makeup.
Yeah. That's easy to come by.
You have all the makeup that you want, lady.
If you break into a pharmacy, I would expect there to be plenty of makeup left, and not a whole bunch of medicine. Yeah, you go to like a Walgreens,
there's a whole aisle.
Yeah. Who's grabbing it?
I'm sure Sephora has not been raided yet. Okay.
But they get them looking as human as possible, and they lead them through the city. And they get to the command center. And this is where, actually, this is something we've talked about before. I can't remember exactly in what show, but we've talked about, like, in small, like, settlements, even if you don't know everybody by name.
Yeah.
You know and if you've been in this settlement where the survivors are, and like I said, you may not know everybody by name, but you've seen everybody. Yeah. And like I said, this is a zombie apocalypse, maybe new survivors do show up. But also, if new survivors do show up, that's not something that goes under the radar. Everybody's alerted. Hey, we found some new people.
The gate guy.
Yeah. So I'm just like, the fact that R is walking through the city and they run into one of the guards, and after some weird way of talking, like, there's an emergency, everything's on lockdown. Like, well, we got our own emergency.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
why is it classified?
I don't feel like that's over. How you're not military personnel, so I don't know why he backed down. But anyways, but also still, he looks directly at R and just like, cool. And I'm like, cool. You've never seen this man in your life. Yeah. And now he's going, like, even if he's not a zombie, because you wouldn't think he's a zombie, why he'd be in the city. But even if he's not, why is some person you've never seen in your life suddenly like, we must go see the leader of this establishment?
All right, and this is when we get probably the best line of the whole movie, in my opinion. It's very understated, but it's like, "Dad, you're not going to believe this, but I think the dead are coming back to life."
Yes.
And he's just like, "Okay, honey."
He's like, "You're right. I do not believe this." Or that does sound crazy.
Like, did you hit your head out there?
And so, he's not having any of it, which rightly so. I would also not believe her. But I also like, she went about this the total wrong way. I mean, there's so many, like, just to start, like, she doesn't provide any, which is hard, but doesn't provide any proof. She said, it's just happening. And it doesn't say, like, I saw it or anything. And then it's like, I don't know, maybe you could have tried introducing him to R first, just as like, hey, here's a new survivor. This is, maybe call him Ryan, give him an actual name. But he's like, and be like this, and don't tell him he's a zombie until after Dad's been like, oh, this guy seems okay. But yeah, she doesn't.
By the way, this is like high stress situation. They know that like a horde of some kind of like scouts or something, but they know that there's a horde of corpses and a horde of skeletons, which are the bonies to them, are on the way.
Yep.
This is not the time.
It's not the time.
He's got too much going on.
It's not the time, but I do understand why they're trying to stop it, because
it's the only time. But
the horde
it's not a good time.
Corpses coming happen to be, M and all his friends. So if they don't, convince them that that all those zombies are going to die.
No, what you got to do if this was like long form and you really want to do it right is you got to put R in a cage.
Yeah.
And then you got to go with like the number 2 guy to the boss.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, I was out there. I met some zombies that can talk and don't want to eat us.
Yeah.
And there's something going on and we need to talk about it. I've got one in a cage I need you to meet. Yeah. And then number 2 guy goes, and maybe there's like a scuffle or something where he doesn't believe them, blah, blah. Maybe he's like a weird zombie hater or something.
You find the most sympathetic,
there's a lot of stuff you can play around there. But no, you need somebody that's like, that's more than just a rambling daughter.
Yes.
That can convince the main guy.
Yes.
That's
to at least come check it out.
Yeah. That's like, and then when he talks to the zombie guy.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, okay,
I mean, R's going to be in a cage for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I imagine even like after the first, like I said, after you get the second in command to believe it, and then he goes to get John Malkovich. John Malkovich comes as his first conversation. Like that's not going to be it. Let him out. It's like, no, now we're going to have a long period. The way that R
gets out of the cage is because a skeleton or bony, like slams into it and knocks the cage over, and that's how he gets free.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, it's going to be a process.
Anyway, that's how
it would be done. We don't have time for that, and R gets found out, and this is also one of the scenes where, so R gets found out. John Malkovich's character is going to shoot him in the head, and then Nora pulls a gun on him, and I'm like, I'm gonna stop you right
She
there.
should not have had time to pull the gun.
She had not had time, and also I'm just like, let's play this scenario in an actual scenario. If the one is Nora just met R. I'm not saying that you need to know somebody a long time to do it, but he's also a zombie, and also this is the father of your best friend, and I get this, but I can guarantee, because he even says it. I was like, I can guarantee if he would have pulled that trigger and saw R, Nora would not have sought him. Yeah. This is because also like not only this is the only, as far as we know, maybe there are other ones, but as far as we know, this is the only human settlement around for at least miles. The only place you're gonna kill the leader of this settlement,
then you're dead.
Yeah, they're either gonna kill you or cast you out. So I'm just like, the fact that he lets them go, I'm just like, no way in hell.
Also, this is all taking place in like the center of
the command center.
Yes, and there were a bunch of people around.
There were a bunch of people.
No
around.
one is paying attention.
No one's paying around. Like I said, this scene right here, I'm just like, no. This scene, like I said, this scene right here, could not happen. R's dead. For sure. Yeah. Like I said, this movie, the credits roll right after this scene. Is Nora pulls a gun on John Malkovich. John Malkovich shrugs, shoots R. Credits roll.
I mean, I guess you could still have the rest of the stuff where like and them like fight the bonies.
But R's dead. R's dead.
And R's dead.
That's 100% dead. There's no world where R gets out of here. There's no way. A trained military official who's been leading a settlement and a girl who's his daughter's best friend with a gun. I'm just like, no way.
Yep. But no, so they run away.
Yep.
But they're not really being pursued.
No.
All that much. But no, like it's the guy turns around, the dad.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're not gonna shoot me. No, like you turn around. You take the gun from her and then just smack her as hard as you can, and then you say, "Chase the zombie."
They're being chased. She's being put in whatever sort of prison they got in this place. You just pulled a gun on the leader of the settlement. Like you don't just be like, okay, well, the feelings were running high, thing. But yeah, so they're running, and they meet up with M and them, and basically like, hey, everything's not going according to plan, and him and them still decide they're gonna stand their ground. They're gonna fight the bonies, and R and Julie. I keep forgetting her name. I don't know why. It's a simple name, but R and Julie flee as they're still being pursued. And then we get the scene where the zombies and the bonies get into an all-out brawl.
Yeah, I do love when the troops show up and they're like, "Who do we shoot?
Who do we shoot?" Yeah, So the zombies basically kind of prove that they truly are allies as they start fighting with the bonies.
Yeah. I do like when they get on the radio. It's like the corpses are fighting the skeletons.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, I've got that going on over here too. What's happening?"
Yeah. So we have R and Julie are being pursued by bonies. And they get to the top of a building, and R is like, trust me, and they jump out of the building.
So, okay, wait. I don't understand why there's this balcony, all these balconies on the outside of the stadium, like 30 stories up.
Yeah.
Is this a thing?
I don't know. I feel like this is a thing that was written in so this scene would make some sort of sense.
Fair enough. But no, they're being chased. They're on the balcony.
Yeah.
There's no railing on the balcony.
No,
I don't understand what's going on here.
Don't know what this is for.
But there's a big pond or something.
Pool thing. Yeah, like, it looks like some sort of fountain.
That I'm assuming it's some sort of feature that maybe just filled up with water. I don't know.
Maybe.
But maybe it was a fountain. Who
Water's
knows?
not that deep though. It is not that deep.
It was like 6 feet deep.
Yeah, I know. 6 feet deep is not. When you're diving off the high dive, you're diving in at least 12 feet deep water.
Well, yeah, that's because you're like going straight. You're like going in a
but
missile.
They're like at least 30. I
saw a video of a guy who jumped like 70 feet and belly flopped into a kiddie pool. That was like 1 foot or like 6 inches deep of water.
Yeah,
and that was like what he did for a living. Dude, like, prayed right before he did it every time. I'm like, yeah, that's insane. Why would you do that? The dude was like 50 or something. I'm like, you're crazy. Oh, man. Anyway.
You got to make a living, Robert.
Look, water tension's a big deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, jumps off, has her on top of him, so that way he'll take the hit. When because 60 feet, I think, is like everything in your body just breaks.
Yeah.
Like your bones just shatter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like anytime you see in a movie where they jump off a cliff, like that's like 100 feet up or something into like the ocean or whatnot, BS every time.
Yeah,
like your legs would shatter because it's basically the same as jumping onto concrete.
I love that for some reason, and the Fast and the Furious franchise is most guilty of this, but for some reason, we believe that landing on the top of a car when falling out of a building would be a safe impact.
Yeah.
Like there's the Fast and Furious movies, there's this scene where like they're on the freeway going at high speeds and a tank is blowing up one of their cars and Vin Diesel grabs Letty and they jump out and are propelled by the explosion and they land like 50 feet away on the roof of another car and they the impact caters in the roof of that car and then they just get up and walk off. I'm like, no, that is not how that cars are not mattresses that you land on and walk away from. And like it's all the time people are landing on the roof of cars and like, oh man, good thing that car was there to break my fall. I'm like, what car is this?
But she pulls him up from the bottom of the pool.
Yep.
He is still unalive. And they have a kiss.
Yes.
The kiss.
Yeah.
And this wakes him up fully.
Yeah.
He is now fully alive.
Yeah.
Then he gets shot.
And I hate this movie.
So here's well, there's a lot of problems. But anyway, so he gets shot in like his left shoulder.
Yep.
Right. Or left side of his chest.
Yep.
I'm like, but he still has a bullet wound in the right side of his chest.
Yeah.
They didn't sew that up. Like, it showed it was still, like, kind of not bleeding when he took his shower. I'm like, that's going to start bleeding as soon as you become alive. Like, you just got a big hole, and it's going to be infected.
Everybody who has any sort of hole, I'm pretty sure there's got to be zombies who have, I mean, you always see, like, zombie that has, like, his jaw hanging off.
Oh, yeah. That's
missing an arm.
Yeah, when that zombie
when
wakes
start
up,
coming to life, there's a lot of zombies who are going to be in a really crappy situation when they come to life.
Yeah, there's that one dude at the beginning of the movie that like ripped half of his face off, and I'm like, oh, that it only happened a week before.
Yeah, damn it. But yeah, so he starts bleeding, and that's how Julie's able to convince her dad that the zombie he's alive again, and yeah.
Then we got like a big post thing.
The whole thing. From the beginning of this movie to now, what we seem to have established is that the only reason why people are zombies and dead is because they can't feel anything. So the premise of this movie is if you can feel again, you can come back to life.
If you just try and be friends with the zombies.
And I'm just like, that's not how death works. I'm sorry. You can't just love somebody or give somebody a hug back to life. And that's what frustrates me about this movie a lot.
It takes more than one hug, Donnell.
It's just, I'm just like, that's it. There's no
you gotta play catch with them.
Scientific.
You gotta give them umbrellas.
Just no. But yes, anyways, yes, we get kind of a wrap up And there's also where another hole though for me is like I said, until this event, nobody had any clue zombies could be healed. They just seemed like feral creatures that would attack humans
because they hadn't been doing the science.
Exactly. So here's my thing: this movie wraps up with R talking about how and then the humans and the zombies bonded together and we killed all the bonies. I'm like, I'm gonna stop you right there. If we're playing in this world where it's like, oh, it's a shame we're killing zombies because we just didn't understand them, and maybe if we tried a little bit better, we could all get along. I'm like, if that's the world we're living in, then killing the bonies without taking some time to, I don't know, figure out how we can all get along and be happy and friendly. I mean, you're just being like, they were too far gone. How do you know they were too? Everyone thought you were too far gone.
I'm gonna defend it a little bit because he's like, I know it sounds gruesome, but we just killed them all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a certain subtext there where he's like, they were kind of, maybe we shouldn't have done that, but we did.
Like I said, even then, that doesn't make it any better. It just means I guess it just means you're not lying about what you did. But at the end of the day, I'm just saying, if because he, like I said, one of the things he does say in that is that they were too far gone. And I'm like, everyone thought you were too far gone until this event happened. So if we're going to take the time for you, then why don't we take the time for the bonies? I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying I think we should save the bonies, but I also don't think we should save the freaking zombies in this movie either. Because that's the other thing is also there's just so many, we talk about, like with MCU, we were talking about like the big picture stuff we never get to see in the movies, like the repercussions of the snap or people coming back and stuff. And
or a giant alien that's breaking apart the earth coming out of the ocean.
Never see any of that and stuff. And that's where I feel like there's going to be so much. Like I said, one thing that I didn't even think about until we just talked about it is like, how many zombies are in some sort of messed up state when they come back to life?
Well, okay, so then this is also like the zombies of this city, which we don't know what city it is. In like a select group of them.
Yeah.
But like you go to another city, them zombies don't know anything about the heartbeat.
Exactly.
Like,
and so how do you
have
start
to round
this
them up
process
and be like,
again?
hi, like try to throw a ball at them.
Exactly.
Like what? I would love to see like an after credits of like, here's how you rehabilitate a zombie from scratch.
Yeah. But yeah. So like I said, I said never thought about it, but yeah, any zombie who comes back to life who is in a messed up state, like it's just gonna suck. Oh, I lost my arm. Damn. So there's that, and then also like even if once again I get it's hard times, but even if, like I said, I cannot get behind the love story of her and R being together afterwards. But even more big pictures, like, okay, so we start bringing zombies back to life. Is there, there's got to be some sort of zombie psychiatrist who's just sitting down with I ate so many people. Yeah. And just like,
what about the humans that are like, I killed my mother?
Yeah, that too.
Because she turned into a zombie.
The amount of psychiatric work that's going to be needed when all the zombies come for the zombies, for all the people they killed and ate and stole memories from, of just being like, I've done so much. And for all the people who had to I put down my whole family, my brothers and sisters and my dad, I killed them all myself. I didn't know I could just give them a hug and they'd come back. This world is gonna be so messed up.
That's so funny. But we get a brief scene with M, who is now called Marcus.
Yep.
He is meeting a girl. Yep. And she is not into it. This is an uncomfortable final scene.
Yes.
Where he's trying to share the umbrella, and she's just like, could you just leave me alone? Okay, I gave you the umbrella. Let's just go about our business. And then it finally ends with them bringing down the wall.
Yes.
Meaning that every civil life has been restored, and they have taken out the bonies. Yeah. But there's got to be a bony hiding somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
This is just a second away from another outbreak happening.
There's, like I said, they're taking on the wall at this city, but like you said, how much outreach have you guys done? How devastating was this apocalypse? Is it just this state, or yeah?
I'm assuming it's the whole world.
Exactly, that's me too. It's going to take a lot of throwing balls and sharing umbrellas to get the world back in order.
But anyway, that's the movie.
Yes,
I understand all of your problems.
Yes,
I just choose to ignore them.
I can't.
And accept that this is just a funny, weird mishmash of Halloween and Valentine's Day rom-com.
Yeah, I can't, because I guess.
But even when I'm watching it this time, I couldn't. I don't hate it as much as you do, but I definitely couldn't shut off my brain and be like, "No, they are having a conversation."
Yeah,
when they said they can't talk.
Yeah, yeah. No, No,
I would have liked to have seen this be. It's rare that I say this, like an hour longer.
Really,
where they really could have slow rolled the development and like change from zombie to human.
I wouldn't have been able to survive another hour of it.
I mean, maybe I'm with you. I get that.
No. I like I said, I know. Like I said, it has a 6.8. I know that a lot of people just enjoy it. I just can't be one of them in my mind. Like I said, this is not the worst thing I've ever seen.
You have no heart, Donnell.
Oh, I have plenty of heart. It's just
have you ever felt love?
Up. I just can't cover up what that was. Yeah, like I said, I won't be like, oh, this should be like a 1 or anything, but I would at least take 2 more points off of it.
No, I like the 6.8 rating.
I think it's a 4.8. I feel like that 0.8 is a generous, honestly. I'll give it a 4.8, but that.
Well, that's our Halloween episode, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all that stuff. I hope you have a safe Halloween and don't get hit by any cars or eat any razor blades and apples or whatever is supposed to happen.
Yeah,
you know kind of things.
Razor blades, or I always love the people, and I can't remember. It might have been a comedian or just someone saying about like, yeah, you gotta check all your kids' candies for drugs, and I was like, what person? Who does drugs is freely giving out their drugs and some candy. That's their drugs. They're keeping that for themselves.
Psychopaths. Yeah. By the way, that's like never happened. Like the razor blades and candy.
No, it's always.
I think like that comes from like one lady who did it to her kids.
Yeah,
like
trying to like prove a point in a sense.
No, she was just trying to murder her children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she did it like at home. It wasn't like she gave out the candy.
No.
It's like they got the candy home and then she put the razor blades in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, there's other ways, lady.
Yeah,
there's better ways to kill a child.
Easier ways.
Yeah.
And kids are so. Okay, this is going to sound myself.
I think the idea was like blame it on a random neighbor or something.
Yeah. No.
Ridiculous. Anyway, coming up, we are going to have our Silo season 1 recap, and then we'll be covering.
I mean. This episode comes out before, man. We got the end of Agatha All Along.
Oh yeah, we do have Agatha All Along coming up.
2 episodes, and that show has been pretty good.
Yep,
it's been pretty good.
Interesting that they got an ending on Halloween. They almost like it was planned.
I know. I mean, yes and no, because they are doing 2 episodes, which I imagine like usually you do multiple episode launches. And Agatha is like, oh, we want to end on Halloween. So
they did do a 2-episode launch.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying they usually don't.
Very interesting.
I'm just saying you usually don't see 2-episode finales, and I feel like that was more of a they scheduled everything out, and then they realized, hey, if we ended a week early, we'd end on Halloween. So that's why we have a 2-episode finale.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. Anyways, folks, that is it for our Halloween special. Hope you at least enjoyed that. If you want to go check out Warm Bodies for yourself, if you haven't seen it, go for it. If you have a differing view on it, send it to us. If you agree with me, I would definitely love to hear from you. But as always, give us any ratings, reviews, 5 stars. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.